all day.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello, everybody. And welcome to Survivor NSFW Rewind. Professor Tim watches Australian Outback. I am your host, Karen Eisenberg. Before I bring in Tim and our guest, I just have to tell you that today I'm wearing the What Up Kesar t-shirt. You can find this t-shirt and many more at johnnyfairplay.com. And remember, with every purchase, you get a call from the great Johnny Fairplay. That's Jony, no H. Now, Elaine, you might be wondering, why am I not wearing my busted can of biscuits?
Yeah.
Right? Well, that was the plan until this just showed up. I just got my mail this morning and it was in it.
Oh, okay.
So I have to shout out my buddy Kesar, who, I don't know if you watch Big Brother, but Kesar had a rough time in the house.
I watched it. I got half of it DVR, so I've not watched all of it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's
DVR'd?
Yeah, you record it on your TV and you can watch it later.
Oh, how wonderful. DVR'd. I'm going to have to use this. I've not got a pen. I can't scroll down. No, please remind me. DVR'd. I will be DVRing everything now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, and I missed my chance to ask Tim what he thinks DVR might mean, but we'll have another chance.
I still have no idea. I know how it's used, but I don't know. Right. I don't know what it means. It might be something rude. Let's hope.
That is always the hope. So you've already heard from them, but we are joined, as always, by Professor Tim Wilson, who is still trying to figure out what DVR might stand for.
How can you tell?
So if you Chad, if you have any interesting or salacious ideas, post them.
Direct, no. It can't be it has to be direct or digital vision record.
Close enough.
Pretty close.
Is it vision or video? Is it video?
It's probably video.
Yeah, video.
There we are.
Yeah,
how wonderful. Because the other day we had a digital detox day, which I thought was terribly exciting. Mm-hmm. And I switched it all off. You know, like in the Book of Mormon, switch it off.
Yeah.
Switch. Yeah. And I did it. I feel so proud of myself. So I did find my hands straying towards the various knobs, and I thought, there's a knob, have to touch it, and I just couldn't. I couldn't resist it. I'm afraid I did enact. I did enact my mobile phone once or twice, so I wasn't completely detoxed. I've had a very eventful week, but last night, if I start dropping off in the middle of today's podcast, it's because I was up until 5:30 this morning, and I was doing some writing. I found I couldn't sleep, and I was sort of thinking, oh my goodness, all these sort of thoughts going around in my head, and I've written 2 little essays, it's so fascinating. And for example, what do you know about lie detectors? I'm so excited by this subject now because I've been searching.
You can. There's a way to beat them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
so let me just also bring her. Yeah, just order. I forgot to bring my gavel, but I also just have to introduce, you probably recognize that voice, but we are joined by Elaine Stott of Survivor Island of the Idols.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. Okay. So back to your previous. So what
we're old friends, Elaine.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're sort of. In fact, I could hardly be restrained when we started. You may have heard Karen pressed the go thing, and I was still in the middle of some sort of nonsense.
Yeah, things get a little out of control when we get together. For some reason, there's less order. God created out of chaos. Why can't we? Yeah, exactly.
So tell me, what do you know about beating lie detectors? I think it may come in importance at some point soon.
Well, I mean, I do have a criminal background, so it's like, no. So, like, I think if you calm your pulse, is it?
Yeah.
You can, because what it does is it detects when your heartbeat rises or something when you're lying. So
right.
Well, there is no such thing as a lie detector. You can only infer from your physiological responses that something is wrong.
Right.
Something is amiss. So, for example, you could ask me, what is the name of your mother? And I'll go wild with anxiety because I have 2.
Right.
and bank constantly asks me, what's your mother's maiden name? I say, which one?
Right.
Well, you got the same thing, Elaine, right? You basically had 2 moms.
Well, I had your
bio mom and your
my
that's me too.
mom and my godmother.
Did you meet your biological mother?
Yeah, I was more of the parent in the relationship. I mean, she was in and out of my life since I was 2.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and I took took care of her more than she took care of
Yeah.
me, especially as the years went on and she got older. But uh, and then my godmother, she was a friend of my dad's when they
Yeah.
were kids. They grew up in school together, and I had moved to South Florida and then come back to Kentucky. And when I went to high school, she was actually my English teacher, and she knew me when I was a kid. And then, long story short, like she took care of me when I needed the most. I was going through a hard time, rebelling, wilder than damn it, as I call it. And now that she's older, like I'm all she's got, and I take care of her. She's had a
Oh, yeah.
stroke, and so
It's
it's
very
like,
cool.
yeah.
It's
So
very
basically, I had 2 in a sense. It's just a little different than like traditional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I was adopted as a baby, but I didn't discover until I was about 26. Maybe I knew earlier, but I certainly didn't know I knew. And but I was brought up with a sort of gang of very strong women, and my father was quite often absent. So I was very much I was very much sort of aware of stronger female leaders.
Yeah.
So of course I was absolutely primed for the arrival of Mrs. Thatcher. But so it's just our society has missed so much. I think by having become so patriarchal in the last 3,000 years.
Yeah.
We've lost so much, and when we go now when we go to school, we have a little bit more equality. But I went to an all boys school, and basically the school is saying we're not selecting. We're only selecting from 50% of the population, or 49% of the population. You're not going to get the best choice that way, I think. And their argument was always that boys at sort of teenage age learn at a slightly different speed to girls, which I think is probably true. But I think that's also social conditioning. I don't think it's I don't think it's nature. And I don't know. Did you feel you had an advantage being girls when you were growing up?
Advantage? No,
I was raised by all men, basically. My dad.
No!
Yeah.
We should have traded places, Elaine.
Right. My dad and my 3 brothers raised me, and then when I moved to Kentucky, I lived with my grandpa. So I was influenced a lot by males, basically. And like I said, my mother was absent, and I didn't have any sisters or anything. And majority of my friends were boys too. So it's like the people that influenced me was mostly men. I guess that's why I'm such a tomboy,
I think whoever had raised you, you would have come out as a winner.
Yeah, you're probably right. I come out piss and fire. I know that. I've been hell on wheels for a long time. I've calmed down in my old age, though.
Oh, this is the calm version.
Oh, I hope not too much, Elaine.
Yeah. This is the calm. Well, when I say calm, I just meant the meanness. I used to be meaner and all get out, just rip and run and do whatever just to cause trouble, Yeah,
really?
I was a wild child. Yeah, I was a wild child. So, so yes, this is the calm version. I'm more laid back.
I don't think I've ever wanted to cause trouble, but I've always wanted to state what I think is the case. And I don't like people sort of riding over me. I let them take a few journeys, and then I will bark back, I'm afraid, and I would say, no, thus far and no further.
I always had a chip on my shoulder, though. I always had a chip on my shoulder. I was the only girl, and I was the youngest. And so I've been beat up by my brothers. I couldn't tell you how many times. So it taught me to defend myself and stick up for myself. And I was always smaller. I mean, I was a little thick in the middle always, but I was always... I was always littler, so I felt like I had to have a big bark,
Did you learn to box?
Well, yeah, I could street fight. I had no technical stuff. You know,
forget about the rules. Yeah, boxing is a sport with actual rules. You're talking street fights are very different.
I mean, I will climb your back and bite your ear. You know what I mean? Like,
in my case, you wouldn't be able to find my ears at the moment.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, no, I just go hog wild. You know what I mean?
You're doing the Princess Leia look. I'm doing the Chewbacca look.
Yeah.
So Elaine, we got people in the chat are asking. They just want to congratulate you on your wedding. So we're very happy that you were 3 weeks. We're so happy that you were able to find the time to come be with us, because it's not just that you're getting married, but you're getting married on the farm, right? So you're doing all the work.
Yeah,
I knew about this. Mazel tov and congratulations, and how wonderful.
Yeah,
when is it?
It's 3 weeks, less than 3 weeks. It's September 25th.
Wow.
Yeah. So yesterday I weed-eated it for about 8 hours, and then the day before I bush hogged for about 6. It's just I just got. So
you're going to be married outside in the grounds.
Yeah, on my farm. We got a ton of stuff to do, and I told my woman I'm gonna build a bathroom because there's no electric or running water on the hill where we're getting married.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And I told her I was gonna build a bathroom, and she's not happy, but it's gonna be completely functional. So. She's kind of hesitant on trusting that it's going to work, but I'm going to make
private space.
Yeah, I'm going to build basically I'm going to build an outhouse is what
right. I was going to say, basically like rather than renting a porta potty, basically like you're saying you'll just get like one of those chemical toilets and build a little thing.
I'm going to run plumbing.
Oh, you're going to really run plumbing.
I was going to say, Karen, very effective.
Yeah, I'm gonna run plumbing and water up the hill, but
I think it's very cool.
I'm just gonna build an old shed, put a toilet in it and a sink because I want people to be able to wash their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
COVID.
Yeah, she's got her fingers crossed that I get it done. That's because if not, it's gonna be just like Survivor.
Fingers crossed now, but
exactly.
But it might be legs crossed.
Yeah. It might be just like Survivor. Everybody may be going in the woods, you know. What I mean?
Yeah, just like mark out a little area, right? This is a little boys area. This is a little girls area.
Yeah, but I'm gonna run generators, and I got all kinds of stuff to do, man. I've been super busy. And I literally was getting ready to go weedy, and I got your message, and I was like, "Oh my God, I totally forgot that we were doing it at noon." So you're lucky you caught me.
I'm glad we did.
Yeah, I totally forgot.
And what are you going to be wearing? Am I allowed to ask?
Oh, she's got me looking all fancy. I think I'm wearing slacks and a vest, and she's got me in a tie, and the boys are matching me. And she's got a big, beautiful dress, which I've not got to see or nothing, but
you're not allowed to see it yet.
Like she's doing the big puffy dress.
Oh yeah, she's got a big old dress, and she's gonna ride up in a horse and carriage. It's gonna be so pretty, and we're doing it like at dusk, so it'll be like we're gonna run lights.
Oh, you must post photos. We must see.
Yeah, well, somebody said they were gonna live stream it, but honestly, I don't know if you can get internet service on top of the hill. If they can, then
if you can get a loo on the top of the hill, you can get internet.
I don't know. I live in the mountains, Vienna. My internet is terrible.
Yeah, you just have to build a cell tower right next to the outhouse, and then you're good.
This is true. This is true.
I was brought up on a farm with an outside privy, and it was a long time before we had a loo inside.
See, I can't stand a porta-john. I hate them. I really hate them. And you can rent these luxury bathroom things, but they're expensive. And I thought I can build that. I'm not going to pay. I could spend $100 or $2 in lumber and stuff and just build it and be done with it. But,
and then you'll also have it when you're up on the property in that area.
And then I just leave it up there. And,
exactly. Yeah, don't take it down.
So yeah, she wasn't too happy. She just wants me to rent one and not. Because sometimes I get these big bright ideas and they don't come through.
You have to be really careful about sort of fixing your loos. Toilet fixing is really tough. You know the Victorians. It was one of the major causes of death.
Really?
Yeah, because the fumes would come up from the sewers.
Oh, okay.
And then ignite, and so you'd have your little lady saying, "I've got to go for a little walk. And she takes her candle with her, and in she goes into the loo, and bang! That's the end of her. Death by misadventure in the toilet.
Right. What a way to go, right?
What a way to go. Well, obviously, in one way she went, didn't she? But terminal way.
But I've never enjoyed the experience of using a porta potty, but I never really thought that I should be afraid of it. But now you're really making me wonder, because you talk about the fumes, maybe it could blow up.
Listen, I just think they're disgusting, though.
Yeah, those things they look like a plastic version of a British telephone box, and you think, no, we've got the authentic thing, and it's covered in glass, and that would be rather entertaining.
Well, I have an old shed, and I was just gonna move it in the hill, up on the hill, and cut a hole in the floor and mount a toilet, and be done with it.
Absolutely, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And
I'm just gonna build one.
A few copies of the New Yorker, I'm gonna
take pictures when I'm done with my bathroom. I'm going to take pictures. I may do a little video sitting on the pot. You know what I mean? Just to show that it works.
It must be so nice to actually know how to build things, because also like Matt, one of the other podcasters on NSFW, he just decided that whatever room he was doing it, whatever, he wants to have a dedicated little podcasting space, like kind of what I did. So he's framing in, part of his basement.
Yeah.
And I know this is a thing that people do. Right. I know that one frames when one adds a room. Right. But you could give me all the supplies and I just spend the rest of my life staring at it, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do with it.
Well, I could frame stuff up. I can build stuff. But if you ever was to want it to code, you better go to somebody else. Because mine is all redneck ingenuity. It's nothing. You know what I mean? It's nothing to spec. Sometimes it's not square. It's got a little wobble to it.
Right.
But I just make it work. So
it does the job, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was doing an opera and somebody stole all my scenery, and I had about a week before the show went up, and I thought, my God, I've got a week and I've got to get this stuff done. So I rebuilt the entire stage set in my garden. And
did you ever get it back? Did you ever get the original one back?
No.
Well, but they walked away with all the scenery. So you're talking about big.
We're talking about it was all very big. But
what did they do with that though?
Well, I'd lent it to somebody for a London show, and we got very good reviews. I mean, I was in the Times and the Guardian and stuff. I was in all the national newspapers for it, but they kept the scenery. So I had to make alternative scenery for the show I was doing next, and so I made it all in a week in my garden, but nothing was quite straight.
Yeah.
And the original scenery I'd made in a decent workshop. And so the amount of cobbling I had to do overnight when we got the show into the theatre was astonishing, and I think I wasn't very popular.
That's exactly what you do. You cobble it together.
Well, that's what a cobbler is. I believe somebody who makes shoes has got a different name. I have no idea what it is, but a cobbler is somebody who sort of pushes pieces together. I was going to say put junk together, but that's got a different meaning in the States.
Yeah.
All right. Should we talk about this episode?
Yeah, probably. We always get sidetracked, but yeah.
I know.
Oh, it's not sidetracking, Elaine. This is the essential stuff.
Look, I also, when I publicize this show now, I don't just tell people, it's a recap of a Survivor episode, because there's a lot of that. To a greater or lesser extent, it depends on the week. It depends on what's going on in the episode. We're just here to talk, and we are certainly pulling our topics for discussion from Survivor. Right. Yeah. But if you want somebody to break down every damn line in the episode, we're never going to be that person.
No.
But this is a good one. I mean, this is one of those episodes that is still kind of down as one of the best episodes probably ever made.
Interesting. I got the impression this was a very direct episode. There were one or two major features, and they sort of played out perfectly. And it's the tidiest episode I've seen out of all the Survivor episodes I've seen. Absolutely tidy, but as a result, it lacks that sort of It lacks the tentacles which I can normally get hold of and go off on one. So it's sort of so I was fixated on completely incidental detail. I mean, as it wasn't calling out to me, I found it. And top of my list was how incredibly young. Is it Proust or Prost?
Probst.
Proust.
Yeah, it's like Proust, but you take out the U and you B. Yeah. Probst. Yeah.
Proust. How incredibly young he looks. He looks so young. I mean, I could almost think of teaching him. I have no idea what is his background. What did he do?
I honestly don't know. He's from Kansas.
Yeah, there's a sizzle reel of him, I think, like the one that he had like before he got the Survivor job.
Right.
And it shows some little clips of him. I think I'm sure he had hosted something before, but I don't think it was like anything on network or anything like that. And I think he might have also been an actor as well. At least a few years ago, it was up on YouTube.
Yeah. Where's he from?
Kansas.
Oh, he is?
Really?
Yeah, he's from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. And he was just hired to be, a host and read the lines. And now, and it didn't take 40 seasons. Within 10 to 15 seasons, he's executive producer now, right? Yeah. He's one of the biggest people on set, but that was not the case, back in the day. They just hired him to be a pretty face.
Yeah.
Which he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem ever to age, not week to week. His hair is perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, he'll tell you it's the Botox. He'll tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Botox? Is he a Botox man?
I think so. That's what he's made a few comments to it. So I'm assuming he is.
We were talking about facial surgery this morning, a few minutes ago. And I'm always trying to remember this lady who, I saw her on stage just before Christmas, Sharon Osbourne, and she's the poster kid for facial reconstruction. But
he's talking about Ozzy Osbourne's wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'd always thought she was such a nice, sweet lady. I was going to say such a nice, sweet old lady, but maybe I shouldn't use that word.
Do you think that Ozzy Osbourne would have married a nice lady? That's not who he is. I'm not saying that she's not a nice person, but
she appears to be anyway. But then I met the fellow who won the first X Factor, and he's a nice fellow, really. I mean, I think he's got some odd views, but he's a nice fellow. And I saw a bit of film on YouTube of her laying into him and the sort of character assassination on live TV, and I just thought, what a foul lady. Even if she's correct, it's just not the sort of thing I want to see somebody doing.
If you don't like the performance, there's ways of saying that without, especially you have this huge platform, right? Millions of people are watching. And just let people down gently.
And this person was on the verge of winning, and this is point, and she did win. Yeah. So whatever she was saying, it was just it was sort of water in the rain. It was doing nothing.
So it struck a chord with you, and you're like, yeah. I said it struck a chord with you, and you're like, that's not right. You shouldn't say that.
I'd always thought that she was somebody she was on my list of people I would love to meet. Mm-hmm. She's now on the list of people who I would actually probably leave the room if she walked into it. And that list is very small. I love one of your people. He's a fellow called Will Rogers, and he was a big Broadway star. And he was a very early Hollywood star. And he was a Broadway star because he could talk. And then he went to Hollywood before they were talking pictures, which just makes no sense to me. But he had this amazing line. He said, "I've never met a man I didn't like." And today, we don't want to sound so sexist, but I don't think I've ever met anyone I didn't like. And there are many people who I don't agree with. There's many people who I think their views are completely sordid. And I would just love the pleasure to tell them. And equally, there's many people who I would let them convince me that my views are wrong, and I would go along with them for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes, I'll look into their mind and think, okay, fine, and then I'll go back to where I belong. But but Sharon Osbourne, I just thought, so that list of people who I would actually, who I would think twice about before I stayed in the room. That list is small, and Sharon has definitely earned a place in that list. So
well, my list is probably longer than that.
Oh no, I'm not on it. I hope I'm not.
No.
I've never had a situation where I, invited somebody to be on the show and they said, "Oh my gosh, I just don't want to talk to Tim."
Yeah,
it's never happened.
Like, that guy. We'll talk for hours. I got
That's fine. And then I tell people, and people are like, "So you're doing this with somebody else?" And then I tell them, "Oh yeah, he was on the circle. Oh, you got that guy, right?" Suddenly I become nobody is tuning in to see me. I get that. Right, but people say, "Oh, you've got Tim. Of course, I want to talk to Tim."
Oh my goodness! Oh my God. But Elaine, I'm sure if anybody blocked your Lou, they would be on your list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is true. I might just tip it over if that happens and just let the next settlers.
After you take off, you got to take off the nice, church clothes or whatever that your woman made you wear. Don't ruin the suit.
Yeah.
There could be that special guest, Elaine. You don't know. There could be that special guest who is just saving up the most enormous brick to lay in your loo.
That's gonna be my luck. I'm telling you. That's gonna be my luck.
It would be theirs as well. Look upon the bright side.
Yeah. I'm serious. I will totally just tip it over there and just leave it. And leave it for the next owners of this farm because I would not. I have a weak stomach. I cannot handle none of that.
So we're going to see how you like watching the gross food challenges because again, that's not my thing.
No.
Do you have livestock on your farm?
No, my grandpa when he was alive, he had horses, so it's got a few barns.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You just have so wheat and pasture and stuff. What do you have?
I just have land. Just have land. There's nothing. I try to kill everything that grows. I try to mow it over or bush hog it down. There's hay that grows in the fields and stuff, and sometimes I let people bale the hay. But for the most part, I just try to mow stuff down, cut it down, kill it, and go on about it. So
wouldn't you like to have a pair of grazing sheep?
Well, now my girlfriend, she's insisted that I'm getting her a horse for our wedding, but I'm not. And she keeps saying, she totally keeps saying, I'm going to be so excited when I get my horse. And I'm like, Tanya, I'm not getting you. She's like, yeah, you are. You're getting me a horse. And she's got it in her head that I'm getting her a horse and I don't have one. So
you'll have a very pretty gelding called Jeremy.
Jeremy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna do because she's expecting a horse, but she's not getting one.
I think you need to rent a horse, right? For a few days.
My neighbor,
and then then by the time she figures out it's not her to keep, like all the guests will be gone, and so she can have a tantrum with no audience.
My neighbor's coming over. He's bringing his horse. He's the one with the wagon.
Oh my goodness! Is it the white horse?
No, he's not white. He's a tan color. He's
really?
like a light.
Like at the beginning of Oklahoma. A Surrey with a fringe on the top, and one is white, and the others like.
Yeah. No, it's no white horse. It's like a light tan horse, but the wagon's beautiful.
Really?
So,
it's the redneck version of a white horse, basically. You get the tan horse.
Yeah.
But he's probably cheaper.
So she's he's just coming over for free. I told him, I was like, yo, we got an open bar. You come over, drink.
He's not only just coming over for free, he's coming over to use your loo.
Yeah, right. So he's just gonna ride the wagon across the way, and she's gonna ride up the hill in it. And so she's like, she thinks that I'm getting her a horse because my neighbor, he had horses and this. So she really believes that I'm getting her a horse. So I don't know what I'm going to do. She's going to be so disappointed. It's ridiculous.
Elaine, you're about to be a married woman. Okay?
I know.
And I think what you're about to learn is that, they say when mom is not happy, ain't nobody happy. Sure. I'm going to go on record that by the end of 2020, there's going to be a horse on that farm. I mean, I've never met Tanya, right? But I'm just guessing.
Yeah. I wish you could see her face when she tells the story. She said, and when it neighs, I'm going to be like, oh, and I was like, she's literally like reacted.
At the end of this podcast series, you have to come back and bring Tanya with you. Please.
Oh yeah, I totally would do that. Listen, she's so excited.
And the horse.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up buying one, but I don't know I got 3 weeks. It's like, I'm not getting a horse, Tanya. I have too much to do. And she's like, no, it's going to be great. And then
just between us, what wedding present are you getting?
I think she's getting an outhouse.
Well,
is what she's getting.
no, that's what she told me. She's like, you have to buy me a present. I said, I am your present. Why do I have to buy you a present? I don't.
Yep.
That tradition I am not keeping. I don't know who came up with that, but I don't think that's very fair at all. Like, I have to buy a present. Is that true? Is she just blowing smoke?
I don't know. Because I haven't done very many weddings.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not.
Karen, is it true? You're the authority.
I was thinking so, but again, like with me, it's different because I live more of in a religious community. So yeah, there are gifts that are exchanged, but they're like very formulaic. Like, have you ever seen like Jewish men wear these prayer shawls? So it's very common that a woman will buy like a nice, like embroidered one of those for her husband, and then the husband normally buys like silver candlesticks.
No, she's like, no, you have to buy me a present. I was like, nobody said nothing about getting no.
But that's my point. I'm saying, but this is a very specific thing in a very specific community. I never thought that if you got married, like I said, I'm on your side, Elaine. You are the present. Like, she's supposed to be so happy because she's getting married to you.
I said, I am your present.
I would regard you as the present, Elaine.
See? Yeah. Exactly. Yep. So apparently I'm supposed to buy her a present. And she thinks it's a horse. And when she tells the story, it's hilarious because she's literally, I guess she's practicing her reaction to seeing her horse. And it's like, she cracks me up every time she does it. She's like, oh my God. Like, it's hilarious.
Okay. So I think you've got to get her a toy horse. I think that's the answer. But she's got her whole reaction.
I thought about getting her one of those rocking horses.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, something like that.
I would be in so much trouble if I done that.
Elaine, I'm going to have to come over and take over your arrangements.
Well, I did think also. I thought, well, I could take my Great Dane and put a saddle on him and put him in the stall. And be like,
Great Dane would be a good start.
Yeah, and get like make like a little mane down his back or whatever.
Yeah, but she wouldn't like that either. But yeah, she's dead set that I'm getting her horse. She's like,
and like I said, I'm calling it now. I'm not saying she's going to get it by the wedding day, but by 2021, you are going to be a horse owner.
I think so, because she just keeps pushing and pushing, and I'm like,
absolutely. Well, you can at least say you've been to the stud farm.
This is true. This is true. We're so staying once again, positive.
Let's try to go back into this episode here. Unless we just want to talk about Elaine's wedding for 2 hours, that'd be totally fine.
So sorry.
No, I'm not about it. So that's Skupin. So Mike Skupin wakes up and he thinks it's a good idea. He starts the rice right before he asks anybody else about what's going on. So he thought, I understand his point. He thought like he's being helpful, but I mean, Elaine, you can tell me when you were on Survivor. Is it a thing that you just don't mess with people's food?
No, you don't. Everything needs to be a group decision. It's you can't just decide to do things and then just assume that everybody else wants that too. So
what time do people get up?
Depends, different tribes, different times is what I say.
And when you were there, did you all tend to get up at the same time, or did you find
basically when dawn comes, when the sun starts rising, people start scurrying, getting up and stuff like that. The at nighttime was different. Like when we were on Lyro, we would stay up with a fire, till whatever time. On Volkai, they would go to bed as soon as it got dark. No fire, just go to bed. So it just depends. It depends on the group of people you're with, actually.
Right. And the real point is just, like I said, you have to do what everybody else is doing. So I understand this. Mike, I do understand his perspective here a little bit, because he feels like every morning, first thing they do is they put on the rice. But this is the part I really love. He says, I'm a student of nutrition, right? If people knew what they were doing to their bodies, right, then they would be on my side. Yeah. And then I was no longer on his side, because I was like, that's just that's not how this works.
No, that's a little arrogant, of him to think that way. But that's what happens. And that's the thing about being in such a social game and you really do have to communicate everything. And when you come in and it's kind of like your way or no way, or, oh, I'm super smart, so you should listen to me. You know what I mean? Like, people get tired of that crap real fast.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm thinking that, you know, as much as we want to do this series for Tim being completely unspoiled on everything, I might not something spoil anything in the game, but after the game, because I think Tim is probably the only person who's watching, listening, who doesn't know about why people don't like Mike Skupin.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he was an annoying character, I will tell you that. But
he's not just disliked; he's hated now.
Well,
so.
because
he seems so affable at the moment.
Yeah,
well, he did something bad after the game. He did several bad things after the game, and so basically, I think he was running some kind of a Ponzi scheme. Okay, you know, that happens. But so then they executed a search warrant, right, and took all of his computers and stuff, and then they found out that he likes kiddie porn.
Yeah.
So he ended up pleading guilty to some charge with this, you know, Ponzi scheme. Like, that would have been probation, but he had lots of pictures of little boys on his computer, and so he ended up doing a few years.
So far, I'm afraid what you're telling me is that being on Survivor seems to lead, at least in part, to a prison sentence.
It has happened a few times.
Yeah, a couple times. There's a few. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but I just wanted to preface some of my comments, because otherwise Tim is going to be like, why are you being so nasty to this Mike guy? He seems to be so nice.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, is because, you know, he comes back.
Yeah.
Does he really?
For another season after the season.
That's before the pyramid scheme and before the...
Yes.
So... He was a big
can go off the rails, can't they?
Do what?
People can go off the rails. Was he already hated by that stage as well?
I mean, again,
people got annoyed with him.
Yeah, I mean, he could be an annoying character, but no, the real, you know, backlash now is just because of what happened after. I mean, Johnny actually makes a T-shirt that says, "You never go full Skupin."
Oh my God! Oh my! Does he really?
Yes, he does.
Oh,
I'm going to send you one.
The real problem with him is that he is. And there's a lot of this in this episode. There's a lot of arrogance on both sides, by the way. And there's Kel on one side, there's Michael on the other, who are sort of pontificating. There's Kel and Keith actually on the other side, and there's also Jerry. There's quite a lot of pontificating. You know. I don't think even if the Pope were to edge in, he would have any room to make pronouncements.
That's true.
It would be all these people are talking with such authority, and clearly they have almost zero.
Right.
And I think there's a desire that we've got in the world to take down people who set themselves up. So you know, I just think if you got a gun and you want to take pot shots at something, so point it in your own direction first. Get there quickly. Otherwise, somebody else is going to be only too quick to take the initiative, and it's going to hurt.
Right.
And
so
you know, I'm sorry about all these people, really, because
this really didn't have anything to do with Survivor, though. I don't think, unless, you know, you could argue that his platform made people more likely to invest money with him. But this is not. It's not like what happened to Hatch. This is kind of just an after Survivor that seems to be totally unrelated thing.
Yeah.
Well, again, it is unrelated, but it's also linked to this sort of nonsense of fame, and I've been trying to get to grips with this. So whenever anybody says anything about reality TV, whenever anybody complains, there are in this country certainly 3 immediate responses. You can't deal with fame, you can't deal with the loss of fame, or, well, you knew what the show was about when you got involved in it. And and I know I don't have a problem with the last thing, but I've been struggling with this fame thing, and what is it now? Or every time I start thinking about it, I think of there's a wonderful soliloquy by Captain Hook in Peter Paisley's "Fame, fame, I'm glittering bauble," and I can't get beyond that point. Then I'm distracted. I'm thinking. The mind is all over the place. On this.
Yeah.
Elaine, did you find difficulty with fame?
I'm a pretty good people person. So you know, when people holler at me or want to meet me out or whatever, I go.
Yeah,
I
you
talk
see,
to
me
them
too. Me
and
too. Before I was on my show, and I had to go to dinner with somebody, I was far more interested in what the name of the waiter or the waitress was and what they actually did in real life than I was really in the food, which brought the pants off me.
yeah.
Now it's wonderful. They'll tell me, they'll come up to me and say, "Hello, my name's Jane," and I'm like, "Oh wow, I made this."
Yeah.
I don't even
No, I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I love talking to the fans and stuff, and it gives me the opportunity to meet and talk with people from different walks of life and from different places and countries, and I would have never got to do that before. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
And it's also unfortunate because normally the season after your season is kind of your time to just kind of go back, be a fan, go to all these events, etc. And then COVID, and I'm glad I went to one of Johnny's events like back in March because that was the only thing I was able to do all season. So yeah. But I feel like Elaine, I feel like is you just handle this very well. And I also wonder whether part of it is because you're not 20 years old. That might no seriously because I think a lot of these kids
they let it get to their heads.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't care who you are, where you come from. I would tell Jeff, I was like, yo, you're just a dude. You put your pants on one leg at a time. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like me, bro. It's just you happen to be on TV and I wasn't,
Right.
So, like, I just try to treat everybody from the bottom run to the top all the same because we are all the same.
Yeah.
I was thinking a friend of mine, she has cancer and she had surgery and she's going through chemo and stuff. And a picture of Steve Jobs came up on my feed for some reason, and it was the one where he's sick. It was the last couple days of his life, and I was thinking, I was like, my friend, she don't have a lot of money, you know what I mean, and she's fighting and battling and gonna do what she can to beat it. But in the end, it's basically up to my beliefs. It's basically up to God, and it didn't matter how much money Steve Jobs had, how many billions he's got rolling in the bank. He still passed away like so many of my family that didn't have a dollar to their name.
Yep.
So, like, that's how I keep things in perspective. It's like, yo, we're all the same. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you, like I said, top run, bottom run. We all the same. So I treat everybody like that. You know what I mean?
But equally, don't you find everybody has something interesting about them?
I do. I honestly, I do. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine reached out to me. She works in a brother company of the company I used to work for. And her sister has been having some mental issues. She's been struggling with thoughts of suicide and attempts and this, that, and the other. And she was taking her on a road trip. And she was like, she's a huge fan of yours, and I would love for you just to hang out and meet her or whatever. And I met him. I met him at the gas station, and she had told me a little bit about her sister, but I didn't want to come out right and say whatever. Right. So I actually was just talking about my life and things that I had been through. And there was a time in my life when my grandpa passed where I struggled with depression, and I struggled with, wanting to be here anymore. You know what I mean? Like it was the lowest of low I've ever been. And I was telling her the story of, like, if I had took that route, if I had made that choice to just call it quits because I was so heartbroken or whatever, look at all the stuff I would have missed out on. You know what I mean? Like, that was
all the stuff we would have missed out on.
Exactly. That was 15 years ago when I was feeling that way. And it's like, life's just about putting one foot in front of the other, whether you want to or not. Eventually, the ball will start rolling again. You know what I mean? Eventually, you'll get back on your feet. Eventually. So, and I've done it in a roundabout way where I was just talking about me because I love to talk about me, But I was just trying to share my experiences and my stuff because we all go through that stuff. And here she sets me on a pedestal because I was on Survivor, and she feels like I'm this huge big star, whatever. So if I can bring myself down to her level as she sees me, you know what I mean? Like, and bring it down. And it's like, yo, we all go through this. And and the coolest part about it, and the reason why I do stuff like that is after I met with them and I left, her sister messaged me and she's like, yo, thank you so much. And I was like, listen, I'm sorry for getting super winded and long. Because when I start talking about my grandpa, this, that, and the other, I get emotional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because it's like I'm really vulnerable. I'm telling my truth, whatever. And she's like, no, don't worry. I said, I'm just a big baby, basically. I said, but I wanted her to know without telling her,
Right.
you know what I mean, that I knew stuff. I was like, I just wanted her to know that we're all the same and we all struggle and just to hang in there, you know? And she's like, listen, she was literally sitting in the back seat and she's like, you know, everybody goes through things, don't they? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, I'm going to be okay. And I thought that was like, to me, it was like confirmation for running out to the interstate and meeting these people and going to dinner with strangers. And it's just confirmation of like, even though I didn't win the million, I think you're put in places for certain reasons.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to figure out that I think that's what my purpose and my reason is. So
I entirely agree. You know, and you feel when you meet people, if you can bring a bit of a smile or just a bit of humanity into somebody else's life, and they will do the same to you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's like a two-way process. It's so uplifting. I felt so down recently, and I find, you know, I suddenly get a message from somebody I've never spoken to before, and you think, oh, okay, so now I concentrate on this person, and actually, you know, we both benefit. I feel, oh right, I've got purpose again, and they feel they've been listened to.
Well,
actually, it's a win-win, and
no, it is. It is a win-win because you not only lifting them up, but it lifts me up too. You know, and that's how I think the entire world should be. It's like, yo, you down, I'm gonna help you, and when I'm down, you help me, and that's how I try to approach it. So it's like
it's forward.
Yeah, so like the fame that everybody says I have, you know, like I don't consider it that. I just think it just made me able to like reach more people and spread a little light a little further. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here for it.
Did you find when you came out as Survivor, and people would say, Elaine, you would turn, do I know you? Did
well, I would try to figure out how they knew me. You know, it's
right.
Isn't it extraordinary? And then you sort of get used to people screaming Tim across the road from a London town.
Yeah, now I'm used to it.
That's the new norm.
I would just assume that it was somebody I did know and had forgotten because I'm so bad with names.
Yeah, well, I get it. You get it so much now. It's like,
it's just extraordinary. But I tend not to forget a face, and so if somebody calls me and I don't know them, I think, oh my God, who is this? But if they stop me in the street, I mean, it's a disaster because I will ask all about them.
Yeah. Well, my woman,
I've got captive audience now.
My woman gets mad because I will stand there and talk for 30, 45 minutes.
My partner does the same thing. He gets really frustrated.
And it's like, yo, you've told the same story 30,000 times. Let's go.
Not to this person.
That's how I feel. Not to they don't know this story. That's what I tell her.
Know, it's a thing from one of my favorite novels, Zorba the Greek. It's a magnificent novel, and Zorba says, I every time I see a bouzouki, or every time I hear a bouzouki, it's like the first time. I smell a flower, it's like the first time.
Yeah.
And to be able to recapture the enthusiasm of the first time.
Yeah.
That's what we
exactly.
have to do.
Tim, it's like we're totally soulmates. You know this.
We are soulmates.
We are.
I ought to be a little effigy, a totem, a talisman at your wedding.
This is true.
I could be your imaginary horse,
dude. If you could fly in, you could just fly your behind out to KY and come. You know what I mean?
I'd love to. Allow me to, but otherwise, I would be. I'm there in spirit.
That's true. That's true.
I'm there in spirit.
Yeah. See how we get sidetracked?
And it's lovely. But like I said, I just want to get to a few points in the episode. But then you could whatever. No, it's fine because it's just what you were already talking about with Cal, right? And the whole thing. So Cal, on the one hand, so he's same thing. He's trying to be helpful, but sometimes intentions are really not.
Isn't he, poor boy? He's very pretty, but rather useless.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think because they're talking about Yeah, but he's talking about fishing. So when they're first talking about it, and we got all these good hooks, but we didn't get any lines, so I got to use twine, and the fish can see it again. And I'm somebody I don't fish, right? So I'm like, it sounds reasonable to me. And then they have Colby saying this guy couldn't fish a rubber ducky out of a bathtub, right? And so I'm assuming that he is right about that, and the Kel does not know what he's doing.
Can you imagine him as a soldier? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. He just doesn't seem soldier material. He just seems sort of model material, or sort of let's just have a wander over here. You can't imagine him actually in fatigues with a gun, actually doing anything effective.
I think he was a military policeman, right? So.
Oh my God! Look! Let's steal this. Oh, look, I'm going fishing. Have I got some inappropriate tools? Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And, look, here's some grass for me to chew. Well, I think it's grass. It might be there's a bit of horse shit. That's produced by your girlfriend's new animal.
So the rest of the tribe goes to play in the family whirlpool, and Kel tries to catch fish, and I'm assuming he didn't, because if he did, we would have seen it. Then we get to the reward. They call it Butch Cassidy.
Karen, who was the person who produced the flag? Whose flag was it? I can't remember.
The Texas flag, that's Colby's.
Yeah, Colby.
We heard nothing from him today.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to the family pool thing and was
laying. We heard nothing. He didn't do it. Right, okay. Just as long as it wasn't Kel or I was just worried. Okay, let's go on.
Do you know though that after that they were no longer allowed to bring flags and stuff for?
Oh, I'm sure.
Because they used it like as a tarp in a sense, and
he basically turned it into a tarp. He just told them he was bringing a really big Texas flag, and they didn't realize it was like weatherproof. And I think he even said that he took it to somebody to have them like put grommets on the sides. So he knew exactly what he was doing.
From then on, that was
From
what was mine? Well, we actually didn't get ours on the show, but I had a quarter that was a 1920 quarter. And that was my grandpa's birthday, so it was a good luck thing.
Yeah.
But we didn't get, but I told people, I was like, I was going to flip a coin and decide on who to vote out, but I was just messing. Yeah. But it was just a quarter, but we didn't get ours till after the season.
Right. Oh, so it was in your suitcase, but you didn't actually have access.
Well, when we got to Ponderosa, they gave us our family, our loved ones' letters, and then they gave us our emotional item to us. So we didn't even get them on the season.
Yeah, that's annoying. Because even if they don't always show it to us, I always thought that people had the stuff, right? It just doesn't make error, but it sounds like you're saying they didn't even get it.
Nah, there was so much going on my season. They just gave it to us after. So
Did you find people were asking for their special item?
No, not really. I mean, I think once you get distracted
by the
you get
the dreams and things.
I think once you get to the family visit, then you start thinking about there's like, oh, well, wonder what happened to my, But up until that point, no, I never thought about none of that stuff. So.
Right. You're just trying to be able to function in the game. And especially, I'm assuming, as the season goes on and the nutrition status gets worse and worse, people have said, like, it really does even affect your thinking.
It does. It slows you down. Like, and when I was doing that puzzle at the last challenge I was in, I thought I was moving at lightning speed, and I was moving like a snail. I watched it back, and I was like, oh, my God, why am I going so slow? But in my mind, I was like, so, it's crazy.
Because you were so malnourished. Yeah. We're going to talk about this a little bit more as the season goes on. But so they have this reward. They call it Butch Cassidy. And again, if I was better with movies, maybe I'd be able to understand
it's a scene.
It is a season in Butch Cassidy would have to jump off a cliff or something. Okay, so that makes sense. Winning tribe gets 2 blankets, and they do this all the time. They show with Roger, he's really scared. He really can't swim. He just learned how to dog paddle.
That was brilliant and beautifully filmed. Yes. And I don't understand how they got so many camera angles in that one challenge. That challenge must have been done 3 or 4 times, or they must have been set up.
They set up different places, and you know what I mean?
So they had cameramen in different places, or camera women. Yeah. But they had to have had somebody in the water, and how could they make sure that person wasn't jumped on?
Well, you just stayed back.
You just stayed back a little bit.
You never went to the cliffs and went jumping when you was a kid or anything? Like
no.
No. Okay,
I would
well,
not be doing that either.
I'm not timid. I just have hemophilia, so there's some things I won't do.
yeah, we go to the lake every summer here at Laurel Lake, and the kids, I take them to the rocks and let them jump off the rocks, and one will jump, then the other jump. You just swim out from the bank a little bit, or swim out from the rock a little bit.
So you don't.
And the next person goes. So the same principle would apply, is what I'm saying. Is like they
just stay back.
Yeah, you just stay back a little bit, but you're still close.
Right.
Because there were two great camera shots. There was the one where I think Roger ends up hitting the water. There's also the one of Roger's feet just before he goes. And then there was another one in the water where they're all in that bathing pond and says, well, there's no fish here. And then the camera just
yes.
Full of fish.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah, the editors were having some fun. Yeah, Mitchell's going, there's no fish here. And then they just cut to a shot like directly at his feet. At first, it was like a little goldfish. I was like, okay, that's not much. And then they look like decent size, like carp or whatever. Like, okay, there's fish in the water.
It was just.
But I love when the editors do that, right? That they just kind of.
That is the essence of good television, where you don't say it, you show it. That sort of irony, and you just think, wow, and when you've been on a show, or when you're in a show, you have that sense that, oh, if I say this and they show that, there'll be a nice moment, and I was certainly very much aware of setting these things up, and I think they used them in my case, but. Were you not aware? Were you not, Elaine? Were you aware of the camera and that sort of sense? You were
but
an editor?
I didn't I guess you call it play into the cameras or you know what I mean. I'm just more. I just run off at the mouth. I don't.
I'm not saying I was setting things. I'm not saying I was playing into the camera. I was just aware that if I said something.
Oh, okay.
Somebody would pick that up and run with it, and it didn't need a response. And similarly, there were times when I think production expected me to make a comment about something, and I thought, well, there's no comment necessary. I just look.
Yeah. Well, I think
the editors understood, and it's much longer television. And I was really proud. There was a boy on my show called Woody, and he did a show with his mother, and I suddenly noticed he was doing all these looks and things. And I think, yeah, you got it, you've understood it, because television, like film, is a visual medium. The less you say, the more powerful you are.
Yeah.
And a raised eyebrow, a sort of a slight smirk.
I made some faces. I'd be like,
you see, with all of those things, and then the fun thing with that is they can use that in context or out of context.
Yeah, when somebody's talking and you're not looking at them, and you're like, I've done stuff like that. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And you just set all that up, and it's gold for a good editor. I think. We often think it's the producer who's controlling the show or the director, but it's the editor really who is the.
I agree with that.
The person with their hands on the machine.
Well, not too many people in this episode got great edits.
Right.
Not too.
This episode was such a tidy episode. Whoever edited this episode was on some sort of angel dust.
Right. But you're right, though, Elaine. Like most of these people do not come out of this looking particularly good.
They don't.
The show doesn't it look great? This is the best the show has ever looked so far.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah. So anyway, so Kucha wins the 2 blankets. And of course, the thing with Roger, this is what they set it up. Oh, he's scared. He can't really swim. He's fear heights. And then they showed him, hesitating. He probably hesitated for 2 seconds. He jumps in. He's fine. And you didn't really have to swim like the dog paddling was fine. And clearly, he didn't hold them back too much because they won.
Yeah.
But, so, okay, so that happens. They get the blankets. And then we go back to Ogakor. And we have more cooking drama, right? Where Keith, who was apparently he really was like a celebrity chef before the season started. They said that he was one of the best known people before they started. I think he was supposed to be cast originally in Borneo, and then he couldn't get away, so they got somebody else. So we're waiting 2 seasons to see this guy. And what are we seeing is that Keith, the celebrity chef, can't cook rice. Right, he's putting too much water in the rice, and so So is this something that, Elaine? Because it seems to happen over and over again on Survivor. Why can't people figure out how to cook rice? It's not that hard.
Well, I think how people do things is different. You know what I mean? Like some people, like on Jamal would like to put salt water in his rice, a little bit of fresh water, a little bit of salt water.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I don't like real salty stuff. So I was like, I didn't like it with salt water. So I just think it's a preference thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like some people prefer it to be a little soggier. Some people. So I just think that's what it is. That's what it comes down to.
Do you know how to make rice biscuits?
What, like pat them? Like Jerry did?
Well, like the sort of things you buy if you don't want to eat cake. And you buy these incredibly light rice biscuits. Can you make these?
Oh, the 0-calorie rice
party? Yeah, 0 calorie. Yeah.
You like rice cakes?
I don't know how to make those. No.
I'm
not a cooker. I don't bake. I don't cook. You know, I don't know how to. Now I can cook enough to feed myself, but like I can't go in.
So that makes me feel better because at least that is something I do know how to do. Because like I said, I keep saying I don't know how to do anything practical. I do know how to cook.
How do we make 0 calorie rice cakes?
I don't have no idea. We'd have to Google it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's just.
I'm sure somebody is busy writing it up now.
Yeah, I certainly have plenty of them in my cabinet. I eat rice cakes. And they do taste like sawdust, but you put stuff on them.
Yeah, I eat them. I put peanut butter and honey on them.
Yeah, peanut butter and honey, or tuna salad, or egg salad, or whatever. Like rather than putting it in a sandwich, I'll put it on a rice cake.
Butter and honey at the same time.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're so American.
Yeah.
Well, you put peanut butter on it, and then you just put a little honey on it to give it that sweetness. It's good. It's so good.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's like some peanut butter and jelly. It's the same idea. You just add a little bit of sweetness to the peanut butter.
I just don't like peanut butter, but maybe
that's our problem right there.
If I'm going to replace your horse, Elaine, I'm going to have to start peanut butter.
Yeah. Peanut butter is good for you.
Not your horse, Elaine. It's Tanya's horse. If I'm going to come and replace Tanya's horse.
Yeah. Well, somebody's going to have to help me do something because I'm
I'll come and plant the mane for you.
Dude, I got 2 saddles. I'll throw a saddle on your back and we'll just comb it all out.
Absolutely. No, I've got all the hair. I've got all the front part anyway.
Yeah.
We don't speculate about the back part. But anyway, let's move on.
Okay.
So back to Keith and his cooking.
Yeah, so Jerry made tortillas. It seems like that they also got flour. I knew they got all these canned fruits and vegetables and stuff, but they also gave them a bag of flour.
Did they really?
Yeah, because that's how she was able to make that tortilla. It wasn't like she ground up the rice or anything. She said something about using flour. So I'm assuming that they got some flour.
I thought she crushed up the rice.
I don't think so. Because again, you would have to grind. I mean, you could certainly do that. You could take the raw rice and you grind it down.
Yeah. Well, maybe she had corn because you can grind corn down and
right.
Did you get flour?
No, we didn't. We just got rice.
Yeah.
I think there was some rice grinding going on.
Maybe. Okay. Either way, though, but then it is interesting that Keith didn't figure that out. You know, because he was saying that she was like, if we can't source good product, I'm just listening to him talk. It's like, you're in the middle of the Outback, right? You got rice and canned goods. Were you expecting to be able to source better provisions? Really?
Yeah. Well, he's he's probably used to 5-star cooking, these gourmet meals, whatever. And that's kind of like how famous people get. Sometimes they get a little detached. From their roots and from whatever. Right. So maybe Keith's got a little bit of that. Like he's been up here on this level cooking with all these wonderful this, that, and the other. Like he can't do the basics anymore. You know what I mean? Right. So that could be it.
Isn't it a sous chef? He's got to do all the basics.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So we go back to to Kucha, and again, Skupin is still fishing. And then I did we get this confessional from Jeff Varner. He says, that when Skupin catches a fish, he says, trumpets blare and angels sing. I think he got that pretty much right. And then he feeds the tribe, and he says something like, I'm so happy that I was able to provide. He says, like, I know it's a risk that I would be seen as a leader, but it just makes me feel so good to help everybody. And then we see like basically the whole rest of the tribe saying, who appointed him leader?
Yeah.
Right.
Didn't he appoint himself in the last council?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he appoint himself? Didn't he? Wasn't he saying? Wasn't he the person?
Somebody needed to step up or something.
Yeah. So, but and again, Elaine, I'm sure, and you know the answer to this also, right? You do never want to put yourself out, especially at the beginning of the game, right?
Yeah,
as being a leader, that is the kiss of death.
Yeah, that's a no-no. I don't understand. I think it's just because people's looking for something to vote people out for, and whenever things go wrong and you have a leader, it's so easy to blame that person, the figurehead, So
I must say I do hate sticking my head above the parapet, but sometimes sometimes it's necessary. But
I had a phone call. Sorry.
Tell your woman that we're talking about her horse.
No,
yeah, we're talking about the horse.
It was my godmother, actually.
Oh, okay.
Say hello, and congratulate her.
Hi, Elaine Stott, mother. Okay.
So I hung up on her real quick.
All right. You can call her back later. Say, hey, Mom, I'm on TV. I'm on YouTube. Come watch.
No, but what I was saying is like people have a tendency to blame, those that are in charge. It's just easier than accept responsibility. You know what I mean? So I think that's what happens. And, and then when you have somebody who's a pompous ass, it makes it a little easier. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah, this episode did basically write itself, right? Because Skupin is giving them all the stuff about how wonderful he is.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And so is Kel.
Right. And so is Kel.
And Kel is too. Like when when you have that alpha male, when you have that, I'm this, I'm that, then you're gonna have people that's like, yo, this kid's got to go. So
and then you had this sneak attack from Marilyn, who just starts to take over the episode.
Oh, we call it Mad Dog.
Mad Dog. Yeah, Mad Dog is great. Yeah.
The way she the way she rebukes everybody for the for going through Kel's baggage, but the way she presents it in the first place, and then she votes him out.
Right. So let's break all this down. Right. So Jerry is the one, I guess, who saw it first. She said she saw something that looked like beef jerky in Kel's mouth, and so it looks like Jerry and Tina go through his bag, and they don't find anything.
Jerky was, by the way.
Sorry.
I had to look up what beef jerky was.
Oh, really?
Really?
Well, that might have been fun to ask. Well, what did you think beef jerky was before you looked it up, Tim?
Well, I thought it might have been rude.
He was hoping it was rude. It's like, oh, it's just food.
What?
I said, I was hoping it would be something rude. It's like, oh no, it's just food. It's fine. Yeah.
No, I thought, oh my goodness.
This is getting spicy. What's going on? Yeah.
That is one of those who can.
But it is interesting. So Mad Dog is the only one. Like, she's pretty pissed at the rest of the tribe, and she wants them to apologize. And Jerry is just not interested. So Elaine, what was your experience like on your seat? My understanding is that it is perfectly allowed within the rules to go through somebody's bag. You can't take anything, right? You can't steal it. But if somebody wants to see if he had jerky, or if he had, now later in when they have the idols and stuff, this happens a lot more often, Tim, later when we have these things that people can win in the game. Because when you can say go out and find an immunity idol that then protects you for the next vote, that's something that will happen fairly soon in Survivor.
Yeah.
Okay? So then you
got to figure out where to put it, where to hide it,
right? So that people can't. So you can put it in something. People can go through your bag to see if you have it. They can't steal it, but they can check to see if you have it.
And they did that on our season. I never went through anybody's bag, not one time, because it's like it just never crossed my mind, and maybe that's because I don't typically go through people's bags in real life, so it just didn't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It just didn't come to me.
This was very controversial. This was very, very controversial when it happened.
During the time, yeah.
Now
it's like they don't care. You go through whatever. People just expect it.
Right. I don't think I would like going through someone's bag. I don't think I'd like them going through mine. It's like it's like, would you read somebody else's phone messages?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wouldn't, but
You would.
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. No, I
wouldn't.
And I'm the evil person. Like, to me, it's like, if it's allowed within the game, I might not do it because, again, I might decide that it would make me look bad or it would hurt my game. But I would not have any moral qualm, sort of in the larger sense of like, what kind of person am I?
Yeah.
No, I'm in a game, right? If I have a reason to think that this guy's got beef jerky, right? I'm saying they weren't looking to steal it.
Yeah, I understand the reasoning, and I like when people went through my bag and stuff, I didn't get mad or
It's just not something you choose to do.
It's just not something I chose to do because honestly, if I can't figure it out without going through some people's crap, then
that's it, Elaine. If you can't figure it out without going through somebody's bag, then it's not worth having that thought.
Yeah, but that's all personal preference too, though. You know what I mean? And that's why you had such a conflict between like what Mad Dog thought and what Jerry and Tina thought.
But Mad Dog was obviously in our frame of mind. She thought he had it. It didn't matter whether she went through his bag.
Yeah.
He already made that decision, and that's why he got voted out by her. And I like that.
Yeah.
And in the previous episode, I do feel like they were already starting to set Jerry up a little bit as a villain. Now, Tina did not speak. I did go back and review this, and I was right. Tina did not speak at all in episode 1. And she will speak later, but she is together with Jerry in going through Kel's bag.
He had something to say here. I've written too much, and then I've not finished that sentence, I think.
Right. But that's the first thing we know about her, and a lot of people, like I said, people just didn't like it. So we're going to put that to the side right now. It doesn't really get resolved.
Tina who decided to go through the bag.
Sorry?
Tina did.
Tina and Jerry seem to be the
Well, I also think they're setting it up for later on.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which we know he don't.
Yeah, and then Kel, overheard. Again, this is something that I will call production.
He was so far away.
Right, exactly. That it was just interesting that he was able to overhear. Personally, I would be looking around really, really carefully to make sure Kel is nowhere nearby when I'm going through the bag. And then Kel just pops up and says, I heard my name. I mean, I do feel like I wonder in this situation where somebody didn't go get him and bring him or make sure he hears it.
Well, sound does carry. Like when you're out in the woods or out wherever, like sound will carry. And if there's no other sounds, and you see what I mean? So it's possible that he did overhear his name.
Right.
Or maybe somebody did give him a heads up. I know that sometimes when you're on the water and you're talking, that sound will carry a lot further than what you think. And I've heard many conversations of people thinking they wasn't being heard out in the water, and you hear him playing his day. It's just...
That's interesting. So you can be sitting on the beach and people are far enough out that they think that that you can't hear them and you can hear perfectly.
Yeah,
interesting. I've never tried that.
That's like when people's in the shelter. They think because they're in the shelter, if somebody's behind it or up, you can hear. Right. It's just it depends on different, whatever, on whether how well you hear, but it's possible that he did hear, is what I was saying.
But it never really gets resolved, right? And but it is interesting also, but he does understand that he's in trouble. So suddenly he says, I've got 3 razors, right? I'm perfectly fine. Here, you guys can take 2 of them. The women can take 1 to shave their legs, right? And then the guys can shave their faces.
That was a bad move.
Yeah, and well, it's kind of, what we call in law consciousness of guilt.
Yeah.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because that made me think that that made me a lot more. And also, it does make sense. He's a military guy, and specifically, beef jerky. Like, if you have a military background and you want to smuggle some protein on a survivor set, like that would be the way I would do it.
Yeah,
really?
And Mark Burnett and Jeff Probst, I think, have both said that they think he probably had it. Yeah. Sorry?
It's put into the lining of his bag or something.
Right, exactly. That's the other thing. They were going through his bag. I would be looking much more interested in like his pockets, or sewing something into the hem of the shorts or something like that. I mean, you'd have to be really, really
devious.
Devious to actually put it in your bag and leave it lying around, right?
Yeah.
But again, we never know. But clearly,
the
tribe starts to think that. But it's not like I would expect Mark Burnett to say, "Oh no, nothing happened. That was just Jerry drama." That's not what they're saying. Right. And even though it does make them look bad, because, we look at this from the outside and say, did you search these people before they went in?
They do search you.
Right. Well, they do now. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much they would search you before you go in.
They go through your pockets, take your shoes off. They went through my hat. Like,
oh, they did. Right.
And then once they send you out of the room and they send you to another, you're not allowed to leave that section. Because then you would have to go back through the search process again.
Right.
So they do it more thoroughly now, I think, because people have smuggled things in.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so I forgot when Hatch was on. I forgot to ask him about the thing with the he smuggled matches onto All Stars by putting them up his butt.
Did he?
You never heard, Elaine? You've never heard that story? Again,
No.
I do not know if it's true, but the story is
you
that
talk to Johnny Fairplay too much. I think Fairplay's telling you way too much. No, I don't know.
It sounds like exactly like the kind of thing that Richard Hatch would do.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But
I've just written glowingly about him, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm not, on the one hand, I don't like cheating. On the other hand, I do think that is a interesting way to beat the system. Let's put it that way. I don't like cheaters.
Proven to work. System.
Dude, I don't think fire's that hard to start. So to me, it wouldn't. It's like I wouldn't know.
Why not just practice? Why not just practice your basic scout technique?
Right.
And learn how to make a fire from scratch.
Right. It gets to me to this day. People will go on the show not knowing how to make a fire, and it's like you're going to have to.
Yeah.
You
don't read a book. You go and practice.
Right. We had that last week where Deb was like, "Well, the book says to do this." I'm like, "Well, I don't care what the book says." Again, she knew enough to get a book to read it before she goes out. Why not just try to do it? Yeah. Kangaroos. Yeah.
Sorry, I, in a moment of weakness, I must have drawn that earlier today.
I like kangaroos.
I like them.
So then we get to the immunity challenge. And this is the gross food challenge that we will see many, many more times in Survivor.
Yeah, I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I can't even really watch it. But basically everybody has to do one round, and one tribe is down one person, so Skupin is going to have to do it twice. Right. Yeah. And pretty much everybody gets it down except, Mad Dog and Skupin, they have to try a mangrove word. I love this also when she took out her teeth. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
It makes sense. You don't want pieces of that stuck in your teeth afterward, right?
It's gross.
Yeah, but that's just so Mad Dog. Like, she just pops her teeth out in front of everybody, gets it down. It was no problem. And then we get Kimmi and the whole thing with the cow brains, right? Because Kimmi is vegetarian, and she tells us what she's like. I don't eat mammal. I don't eat fowl. I don't eat.
But she clearly goes for the worm, doesn't she? I mean, that's got Shakespearean potential,
right? Right, but so she will not eat the cow brains. Then everybody else, I think, gets everything down except Tina. So we get everybody else gets everything down, and then for the last matchup, it's Skupin and Tina. Kucha is down by 1. So if they both ate it, then Kucha would win. But it turns out, it's tribe, right? But it's tribe with cow stomach.
Very good at getting that thing down.
Yeah, and so Tina just couldn't. She got it down, but she couldn't keep it down.
Oh no, right? She couldn't.
Right.
Yeah, I can't watch that stuff.
Right. And so then they do the tie break, and they say, so each tribe chooses somebody from the other tribe, right, that they think is going to have trouble, right?
And it was bound to be chosen. I mean, that was so unfair.
What do you mean?
Well, obviously she was going to be chosen if the other tribe was going to choose the person least likely to eat a worm.
Right. Well, but what they point is again, but you can eat a worm. The first thing we hear is that when she gets picked, and then they show it's the mangrove, and Timmy is singing, "I can eat a worm, I can eat a worm." Right. So she's very happy to eat the worm, right? Because a worm is not really a sentient being, right? And Tina again can't even get the worm down. So Kucha wins. Ogakor goes to tribal council, and it would look like that Tina should probably be in trouble, right? Because she had 2 chances to get this stuff down, and she couldn't do either, right? And we hadn't seen so much of her. So if they wanted to make me think that Tina's probably going to go home, they were doing a pretty good job selling that to me. And they show that, people are unhappy with Keith, people are unhappy with Jerry. Jerry says that Kel is a liar and a cheat, right? So we got all the setup. But I really thought the first time I ever watched this that Tina was going to go home. And that's not what happens. So Keith and Jerry do another round about the rice. Mad Dog, another great Mad Dog moment says, if it goes down, it doesn't come back up, it's a good meal, right? And then Tina says, I'm the one who screwed up. I should be the one to go.
I thought that was one of the nicest comments that I've yet seen again in Survivor. So
what Tina said, you mean?
Tina's comment. I screwed up. I should be the one to go.
Right.
I just thought so positive. You don't get that very often.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's not great gameplay, but maybe it is, right? Because you can't really argue with that. If she starts trying to defend what she did, right? But she doesn't do that. She's like, look, I screwed up. But she might have been willing to say that because, as we see later, right, Jerry votes for Kel and everybody else, including Mad Dog, votes to send Kel home.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it sounds like, I'm assuming that, before they went into tribal, they were pretty sure that, everybody was just going to vote for Kel. And, so Elaine, what was your experience on that? Do votes really change at tribal, or is this just kind of all a ceremony and it's all?
No, I think typically when you go into tribal that it's a set plan. I think you have those cases that sometimes things do change. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the tribal council where Tommy was going to get voted out and
right.
told him and everything was up in the air.
Right.
I think you have those times when the plan does change. But I think for the most part that the plan's already set in the motion. So I think they had already made their minds up that Kel was going to go home. Mm-hmm. But I just think that's a ridiculous thing to send somebody home for.
For eating beef jerky.
Well, for eating beef jerky, because in the beginning of the challenges and stuff, strength is what you need. Mm-hmm. And you save Tina, who, physically can't compare to Kel. Mm-hmm. And she messed up in the challenge, and then you get rid of Kel because he had beef jerky. You know what I mean? Come on,
right.
So
you would have voted out Tina, not Kel.
Yeah, I would have pushed for Tina, but that's the thing though, is maybe some folks didn't want to vote Kel, but because Jerry and a few of the others were so persistent on,
right,
it's got to be Kel, it's got to be Kel.
Yeah, certainly Mad Dog, I think, right, wouldn't want to vote for him. But I assume it's a thing, right, that once you see the votes are probably going that way, then you want to vote with the tribe.
You don't want to rock the boat. Right. You don't want to rock the boat.
Right, exactly.
But it's like electing a pope. But why wouldn't you have voted out Keith? Why did no one vote for Keith?
For the same reasons. For me, in the beginning of the challenges and stuff, in the very beginning, it's about physical strength, a tribe's physical strength. So getting rid of your weakest link is the smart thing, because you don't want to come back to tribal. So the more you can win, the better off you'll be come post.
I see.
Right. When it becomes an individual game, you'll be better off because you'll have more numbers. So in the law, it's smarter. You know what I mean? Getting rid of Keith or Kel, yeah, you're getting rid of somebody that's annoying the crap out of you, but you're weakening your tribe by keeping somebody that's weaker. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes you just got to suck it up and put up with people's shit until you can get to the point where,
Yeah.
So
we didn't see anything from Tina, right, that would explain, explains not the right word, but whatever. It's not my brain just farted again.
Yeah.
But I know what I was going to say. But, we didn't really see with Tina. I think, you're assuming, and it's a reasonable assumption. Again, Cal's a military guy. Tina is, she's not old, but she's old enough. She's got two, tween age kids. Mm-hmm. Right. And, we didn't see her holding back the tribe, because if that had happened, we would have seen it.
Yeah.
Right.
We saw her losing the challenge.
Right. But there's no reason to think that she was responsible for that as opposed to anybody else.
Well, technically she was, because she couldn't eat.
Oh, yeah. For that, I was thinking more. Yeah. Right. But in terms of keeping the tribe.
I think if you're going to go on Survivor, there are two things you need to learn. Number one, how to make a fire. Number two, how to eat a worm.
Right.
You should obviously be practicing in your backyard.
I think things that are much, much worse than worms. in later seasons, we get to see balut, what they call balut.
Yeah, it's basically, I didn't eat none of that crap, but that's basically just a chicken, a baby chicken.
Yeah.
You eat a baby chicken. It's ridiculous.
It's like in the egg, basically.
Yeah. But beak, fur, whatever, feathers, all that. They eat all that. No.
Yeah.
Not
well, even I think it was when Amber was eating. I kind of glossed over it because everybody did get it down except for Tina. But like what he said, like there was some kind of bug, and he says, like, you can rip off the pinchers, right? But you have to eat the rest.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that happened because when they ran the challenge with the Dream Team, right? That they always did, they were probably like, this thing is really cutting up my mouth.
Probably.
Tim looks mortified and unhappy.
I'm just groaning.
They don't do a lot of the food challenges anymore. This is like really old school Survivor.
Right. I know. They're unable now to do a challenge that is not an obstacle course of some sort followed by a puzzle.
No animals were hurt in this film.
Right.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think in the very beginning of the game, it's important to keep your tribe strong.
Oh, yeah.
So I do think that sometimes you gotta put up with shit that you wouldn't necessarily put up with for the betterment of the tribe to help your game in the long run. So.
Right.
You're right. I think you're right, and I think it might have been interesting to have seen where Kel was going. But I would have liked to have seen him continue a little bit longer.
Right. Well, but that's the thing, somebody has to go home, and it's one of those things again where like early in the season, at this point I'm like anybody but me. Like, I mean, yes, you want to keep the tribe strong and all that, but if everybody else seems to be fixated on voting somebody else and it's not you, go for it. And that's what I'm assuming Mad Dog did.
Well, I think in the early Survivor too, it was more so of that, of like, okay, as long as it ain't me. Whereas in New School Survivor, people may not agree with the votes, and they put in the work to change the votes. They more strategic, more strategy, more
right.
You know what I mean? So this is like a testament to old school Survivor, how it's like, yo, there's a plan. Let's just go with that.
Right. And especially, back, so this was just, it must be so different. I'm just thinking about the experience of being on Borneo versus the experience of being on Australian Outback, like when they're filming. Because the Borneo cast, they didn't know how big this was going to be, right? They probably didn't even know for sure that it was going to be aired.
Yeah.
Right. Or certainly but it was going to be shown to, 50 million people. Whereas the cast of Australian Outback, they are very aware that people are watching, right? They are very aware that people are going to have opinions about it.
Yeah. But see, I think a lot of people that go on the show, they have no self-awareness. So it's like, they think they're awesome and fantastic and this and this. And Jerry, for example, she went on the show. I think, I don't want to call her the B word, but she came across that way.
She did.
She did.
The B word is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. So she came across that way, but I don't think that she thought that she was like that.
I don't think very many people who are beautiful actually realize how beautiful they are.
Yeah. So I think for her, whenever after the season's over and she got, if you remember when she goes on, is it All Stars that she goes on where she literally was booed off stage and
really?
Yeah.
Later on.
So we don't want to spoil on too much, but yes, again, many people from this cast will come back.
Yeah, they come back.
And Jerry does come back, and Jerry continues to be the B word.
Yeah,
I'll give you that much of a spoiler.
What I was saying is that how people perceive themselves and how other perceives them are totally different. And I think some people are so far removed from what people really think of them that it's like a shock to their system when they find out. Oh, you think I'm you think I'm a jerk? You think I'm, I think, I think people are really shocked. So I think
did Cal come back?
No, didn't see
no.
Off and gone back to the army.
Yeah, that's it. One and done.
Or something.
But I think that, a lot of those people, they go out there thinking, oh, I'm going to be fantastic. America's going to love me. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And when something totally different happens, I think it kind of shakes them to their core, and they're like, yo, maybe this wasn't the right choice. Maybe I made the wrong choice to go on a show like this. So I think a Survivor has it's helped a lot of people, but I do think in the same aspect that it's hurt a lot of people too because of things just like that.
Absolutely. Can I ask the penetrating question? How many people out of this cast do you think applied, and how many were approached?
I should know this, but I think that there were at least, tens of thousands of applications. I should have looked up the number before I came on, but there were a lot.
I think it's more than that.
But the people we saw, were they all applicants, or had they actually been headhunted by?
I think so.
That's a good question. I think back in the old days, I think that these, so obviously Borneo, they had to headhunt it. But I think the other seasons, the other old school seasons, it's applicants. If anybody was recruited, it's only a couple of people.
Yeah, because they had so many. They had triple the numbers that they have now of people trying out. So the pool to pick from was a lot vast. It was big. So it's like, I do think that when they felt they was falling short, like say in the middle of all the seasons, like
then
20 or whatever, then they would start recruiting and trying to pull certain types of people in if they couldn't get them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I think in the beginning, for the most part, it was all applicants. I do believe. I could be wrong though.
And I feel like the difference between the quality of those seasons versus those later seasons where casting is basically Lynn Spillman going into a bar in Venice, California, right, to see who she can find. Yeah, it doesn't tend to lead to great seasons. Some people do learn the game on the fly. Johnny did it. Other people do it, but generally, you're better off casting people who have some clue. Oh, that's a little fluffy dog. What is her name?
That's Chewy.
Chewy. Hi, Chewy. I've never seen Chewy before, but I can't remember her name.
Yeah, she's cute.
Oh, Chewy's very cute. Maybe you can put a saddle on Chewy.
My cat.
Yeah. She's just a big fur ball.
Isn't she gorgeous? How old is she?
I think she's a little over 2.
Very nice.
Yeah, Tanya, listen. She loves that dog more than she loves anybody in the house.
Yeah, so all of your dogs are still outside on the land, and Chewy's in the house, right?
She's the princess. This is true.
So Chewy could really be an alternative horse.
That's what I said. Put a saddle on Chewy.
A little horse, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a little fur ball, though.
Elaine, have you not heard of My Little Pony?
Yes, when I was a little kid, I loved My Little Pony.
There you are. You see,
that was the only toy I would play with was horses, the little bitty horses.
Chewy, My Little Pony. This brings me back to my childhood. You see,
this is true. You're a smart man.
I know. And more than that, nobody will know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm so looking forward to hearing about your wedding and seeing your photographs and meeting Tanya and seeing her in her great saddle, sitting side saddle maybe on her.
Yeah, you got to with the wedding dress. You might have to ride English.
Yeah. If anybody's got a horse out there I could borrow for a couple weeks or something, and then I could say that something happened, it got out.
Yeah. Oh, I also just realized. Nick from David versus Goliath just got married this past weekend.
Yeah, I was at his wedding.
Oh, yeah, so I was going to hit him up. Take any of that wedding stuff that's left over. Get some centerpieces, get some party favors.
Listen, we have all that. The only thing we don't have is we're putting out hay bales for people to sit on.
Wonderful.
And we need quilts to put over top of the hay bales. That's the only thing. Yeah, everything else, we got the centerpieces, the table stuff.
You get somebody knitting that.
That would take forever.
You've given me a little bit more notice. I could probably
this is when you know if you've got enough fans. You just put the word out.
Oh, yeah. Put the word out.
Everybody does a bit of knitting.
I need quilts. So I need
you need quilts.
Yeah.
So.
I can't knit a quilt, but I'm happy to, you're friends with me long enough, you will end up getting a scarf from me. Because I only knit rectangles at this point, and hats. I can do a hat. But
really?
I'm not at the point to make a sweater or anything because
When I was first at university, my mother knitted me a Tom Baker Doctor Who scarf, which I used to run around in, and it was about 22 feet long. It was wonderful.
Wow!
And I could ride a bike with it.
Dude, I can wrap my whole body in that.
You got to be careful with that. But if you're on a bike, that's a really good end. If that gets
I know. You've got to remember what Isadora Duncan. Isadora Duncan, and she's got her scarf, and then boom, ooh, that scarf really brings out your eyes, dear.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we are, sidetracked again.
I'm so sorry.
Well, we already, like I said, we went through the episode. It wasn't. There wasn't. Is there anything else that we should discuss that I kind of glossed over?
I don't think so. I just think everybody needs to know what a brilliant episode it was. So brilliant that I've got almost nothing to say about it.
Right.
It was just like it's the first episode of Survivor where I thought this is almost perfect in terms of production.
They have learned a lot between season 1 and season 2 in terms of, again, very few situations where we didn't actually see something. Yeah, we don't get the shot of Kel with the beef jerky in his mouth, but short of that, they've done a really good job. And same thing, and they've learned how to tell the story.
Yeah.
And it was just smooth. It flowed, and and visually it was more inventive than any show I've seen so far. I mean, that scene under the water where you move away from the feet to the fish is just magnificent. I mean, the whole episode is worth the whole.
Tim, have you watched any other Survivor, or just have you just?
No.
I really, Elaine, I'm just a complete reality TV virgin, and I'm following the diet that Karen is dutifully providing for me.
Right. Well, it's going to be interesting for you. It's going to be interesting for you to watch these first seasons,
right,
and then go and watch like my season. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be
so your season is which
season
39.
39.
Yeah, so we're gonna get there at around 9 or 10 years from now.
Couple years.
Oh, we'll find a way. We'll find a way of speeding time up a little bit.
Well, I mean, you could just go to episode 39 and watch.
I think for you.
No, seriously, go to episode 1. Watch 39. Season 39, episode 1, and that's all you need to know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it won't spoil you on anything.
No, and it won't spoil you on nothing. It
Right.
just gives you a big old taste of the biscuit. That's all.
Yep.
I'm
sure there's probably also. I'm sure people have made videos on YouTube or whatever with Elaine's greatest hits. People do stuff like that. I bet we could find something for you. Yeah, that Tim could just watch.
They do have a best of Elaine on YouTube
for your wedding. I think Karen and I might arrange an Elaine episode.
Oh yeah, y'all could totally do that. That would be
cool. but I've got no pen, so I can't write anything down. So Karen is going to be in charge of our arrangements.
Yeah. Or you could like watch like Beauty and the Beast, or you could recap like Black Stallion, or horse references, or
yeah. We'll happily do that.
I mean, it's open. You know what I mean?
You got to be careful though, Elaine, because the first thing I would do would be to call up as many of the people I could from your cast.
Oh yeah.
I'll basically make it a roast Elaine episode.
Oh,
because they love you, but I also know that I'm sure they like if I got Lauren and Janet and stuff, I'm sure they got some shit.
They're all gonna be here. They're all
cool. Yeah. So who's coming?
Are they really?
Yeah. Lauren can't make it. Her brother-in-law's getting married the same weekend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tommy can't fly in because of the COVID rule about having to quarantine for 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
But
where is he?
He's in New York.
Oh, I see.
And then everybody else is coming. Jamal, Jack, Elizabeth, Janet.
Jamal was on your season.
Charisma, yeah. Aaron. Dean is officiating.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dean's officiating. Nora's coming.
I would like to see Nora officiate. That would be
freaky. Funny. But yeah, there's a good 15 of the cast coming. So.
Oh wow.
Out of 20, and then I got
And what are you serving for dinner?
Barbecue.
Yeah.
And barbecue, pulled pork and barbecue chicken. Redneck
good.
stuff.
Have you got a cake? Have you got a cake design?
Yeah.
Oh,
got the cake and stuff. Open bar.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And what are you serving in the bar?
Well, I got probably about 10 different liquors, 3 different beers,
Right.
some mixed drink stuff, just different stuff.
No, I would only be serving malt whiskey and vodka, I think.
Well, we got I think we got Jack, Tito's, rum, gin, tequila, all the big ones.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Gin has disappointed me. Oh no, where have you gone? Hello.
She probably got another call. Hopefully she'll be back.
No.
Oh, we can hear you, Tim. We can't.
Can you hear me?
We hear you fine, but we can't see you anymore.
But you've suddenly become sort of invisible.
Hold on.
Yeah, let's see.
I don't know how to fix it.
It really is like the Wizard of Oz now. Pay no attention.
We can make this work.
Hold on, I might leave and then come back.
All right, you can do that if you want.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
Come back. Come back.
So while Elaine is doing that, Tim, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
Oh, you can find me on Zontul Films Limited. That's ZONTUL FILMS LTD on YouTube. And because we've got problems with education, I've started producing educational resources. So I'm starting to teach again. It's quite exciting. I'm doing proofs for the existence of God, which I mean is practically an oxymoron.
Yeah, I would love to see that, but it'll take a bit for you to convince me, not that God exists, but that it can be rationally proven. Because I'm not so sure that's true.
It cannot, but it's a wonderful introduction for students to learn how to do abstract thought, and particularly the thing called the ontological argument, which I think is spectacular. So there's that, and I'm doing the first bit of Milton's Paradise Lost, which is great fun, and I've translated. No, I'm not translated. I've got the opening bit of God telling Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree. I got that in on the clouds. It's all very dramatic. I'm sitting on a volcano. Anyway, so you can find me in Zontul Films Limited, but not on the volcano yet. That's still got to be
That'll be on a future episode
and uploaded. And then you can find me on Instagram under Professor_Tim_Wilson, and in Twitter in Prof_Tim_Wilson, and there's a thing called Cameo, which I've just
we got you on Cameo.
Yeah, I'm now on Cameo, and I think on Cameo I'm Prof_Tim_Wilson. So I can now be found on Cameo, and you can get me to say hello to at your birthday, bar mitzvah, wedding. And I'm only too happy just to sort of be there and sort of hello.
Elaine just messaged me, and she's not able to get back into the stream. So we're just gonna have to wave goodbye to Elaine remotely. I know that Elaine is very active on social media, at least on Facebook and Instagram. If you just search for Elaine Stott, she's probably also on Twitter, but I don't know that off the top of my head. But if you want to follow all of her wedding updates, absolutely, and she will be posting. And even if she doesn't have good internet in that one part of her land, then I'm sure that they will post it. Might not be live, but we'll get to see it. So, I really, really appreciated her taking the time to come, because I know what is involved in making a wedding, never mind, doing everything yourself. So I wonder if I have time to knit something to cover a hay bale. Wow. I should have never knitted anything quite that large.
I think we need to get support from fans, but I don't know anyone who knits. I tried knitting on the circle, and I didn't get very far. I got I got an inch.
There's actually somebody. So I learned to knit as a child. My grandmother taught me. But there are many people on YouTube. But there's one that I have just kind of stumbled across many years ago, and she's just a very good teacher. Right, she explains things so well, and just she's got her camera angles, and she does things very slowly, and you really can learn. Because I would say you can't learn something like this remotely, but you really can.
I learned how to do it for the circle, and and I thought this is something I could do. But when I came back, Najati's put all the knitting and all the wool somewhere. He's very good at hiding things. I think he calls it tidying. I call it hiding. And I've given up trying to find things now. I've given up trying to find the books I want. I just think, oh, they've gone. Try and use your memory. It's good for you. But I just think, oh no. Anyway, sorry.
So Elaine is in the chat, and we know that you can't come back. I said, I know we have already said goodbye to you.
Goodbye, Elaine. Do you not think this reminds you of that one of the best Doctor Who episodes ever, called The Three Doctors, where two of the Doctors can get together? I think John Pertwee and Patrick Troughton. But the original William Hartnell was stuck in a television, and he couldn't quite make it.
I have to admit that I have never seen Doctor Who.
Have you not? You have missed a treat. You have missed a treat. Maybe one of our sessions we need to duck out of Survivor, and I need to get you to watch an early episode of Doctor Who.
That'll be fun. Maybe same thing for after we finish Australian Outback, and we want to do another one-off. So that'll be fun.
But I think we also ought to have at least half an episode as a tribute to Elaine for her wedding. So you have to get me to watch an Elaine episode.
I'll send you, like I said, I'll send you the link for the Best of Business. Oh, wait, she's back.
Is she?
She's back.
Dude,
back. Hey.
Hello.
I never figured that out. It wouldn't let me do it. I don't know what in the world.
Right.
Technology is not my friend. I'm just saying.
So I already told people that people should follow you on Facebook and Instagram. Are you also on Twitter? I wasn't sure about that.
I am. I don't tweet much. I'm not much of a Twitter. I can't come up with smart things to say, so I just don't say nothing.
No, but like I said, for the wedding preparations and stuff, all that's on Instagram, right? And you'll cross-post it also on Facebook. So
yeah, it's I think we got a videographer that's going to do a video of the day and the reception and stuff. So if we can't get somebody to live stream it, we'll be posting a video as soon as we get it, so you guys can at least see bits and pieces of the night. It should be pretty fun, man. It should be a good time. And
be fun to see what she's got you wearing.
Yeah. Listen, I don't like dressing up. I hate it.
Yeah.
And I damn sure wasn't going to be caught in bed in a dress, you know what I mean? So
I don't see you as the white puffy dress kind.
No, so I went the other route. It's more of a, I guess you could say I'm kind of like the groom in the situation.
Yeah.
But there's nothing traditional about two gay people getting married. So, you know what I mean?
But it's interesting, though, that when you do...
It goes back a long way.
Yeah, but it is interesting that now the gay people, can get married. What we're learning is that most people do tend to have pretty traditional weddings, even though, like I said, you don't have to. You can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I got married at a gym, and we ate, Chinese food on paper plates.
Yeah.
Because I was not going to spend $50,000 on one party that I was going to barely remember.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't spend nowhere near that kind of money, but we wanted to do something. I had proposed at the bar. We were going to do it at a venue. With COVID, they wanted to cut the numbers back, and I was like, let's just have it at the house.
Right, and then you can do whatever you want.
And now we can do what we want. And if people don't feel comfortable coming because of COVID, that's cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? But our restrictions are on ourselves. It's not somebody else.
Right. And you've got plenty of space for, social distancing. It's not like people are
and I told her, I was like,
other.
We're gonna hand sanitizer. I'm building a bathroom so people can wash them hands.
Yeah, no, you're doing your best.
You know what I mean? And so we'll go from there. But it was we wanted to do something that was more us, more our style, and
I get
redneck and laid back.
Yeah, and that's why we got married in a gym that was kind of down the street from. We could have gotten the hall in the city, but we didn't want to.
West Side Story, Karen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Very West Side Story, I think.
Yeah.
West Side Story.
Don't you think it's we got
But it's
married?
cute also, on our wedding video, the last shot is just basically we're holding hands. We're just basically walking down to our house, which is 5 houses down from where we just got married. Yeah. Do the same thing. So now, are you going to do any kind of a honeymoon? Or you're going to a hotel at all?
Yeah, we're actually, I wanted to go to Australia. I wanted to go to Hawaii, but I don't think we're going to fly out of the country.
Right.
So I told her, I was like, let's go to a ranch in Montana. So we're going to go to a ranch in Montana and go fly fishing and go horseback riding.
Who's going to look after all your dogs while you're away?
Well, the baby is gonna probably go to her mom's, and my neighbor's gonna feed my big dogs, and the youngin's gonna be crashing at the house. So,
okay. So,
yeah, things will be taken care of.
Right.
Good.
But we wanted to do something a little different than traditional. Like Nick Wilson, he's actually in Cancun right now for his.
Yeah.
And everybody goes to the beach and stuff.
Right. Yeah, you want to do something that's more
so
you.
It's like, let's do something redneck. Let's go to a ranch. Let's go to Yellowstone Park. Let's go to Glacier Park. Let's do some things like that. So, we outdoorsy people anyway. So it's like that. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a good time. Right. I'm just really excited to have everybody come.
Oh yeah, no, that's
and hang out, and
because I know that there were lots of plans with lots of your cast coming. I'm glad that they still can, because this COVID stuff. I mean, I personally am not flying, but that's because I'm high risk. But I'm really glad to hear that most people were able to make it. Because
my dad actually had COVID. He's had his second negative test in the past few weeks, and I told him, I was like, yo, you gotta keep testing till you come, because I can't have you.
Right.
Putting other people at risk or whatever. So, it's scary times, but at the same time, like I'm a firm believer in if you do what you're capable of doing, such as washing your hands, like being responsible about yourself, then then I kind of think you'll be all right. But that's just my opinion. It's not like I'm a professional.
And like I said, for people who are not high risk, I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm in a very different situation, because my doctor basically told me back in March that if you get this, it's probably going to kill you. And I was like, okay. So that was interesting. And even though I am leaving home right now. I'm going to work. I'm going to the pool.
Well, see, the thing about Kentucky is, we don't have too many cases. I mean, we have cases here. But Florida's got like 10 million cases a day.
Right.
Kentucky, I don't even know how many we have in general, but in my town, it's only like 102 cases.
Right.
So it's like the numbers are just crazy different here.
Right.
And so I feel more freely going around and doing this, that, and the other than I would say if I was in the big city.
Right. But again, you make a decision, and then other people can, make their decisions, and know. Yeah. And even for me, like over the months, again, and knowing that this is going to be going for a while, I finally started getting like some workmen in, because there was some stuff I wanted to have done on my condo. I wanted to put more light in this room, and I wanted to like move my little home office into this little closet, whatever. And so, but I needed workmen, because I'm not the kind of person who actually can build stuff. I'm the kind of person who can pick up the phone and call the people and pay them to make the stuff. Right. So I finally did something. Like I said, everybody's wearing a mask, but they're coming and doing their stuff. So and it's different. The decisions you make when you think it's going to be a few weeks is very different from the decisions you make when God knows when this is going to be over. It is going to be over, but God knows when. So.
That's like like if you come to the wedding, like I told my godmother, because she's a high risk person. I said, I don't want you hugging people. I don't want you, you know what I mean? And just say, wave hi from a distance.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If it wasn't for the flying issue, right, I would absolutely crash your wedding. But same thing, I'd be standing at a distance, waving at everybody.
No, but that's what I told her, because I was like, you got people coming from different parts of the country, and you cannot afford to get sick. And the only way I can keep you safe is if you don't touch anybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I told her, I was like, yo, you're going to be at a table by yourself. But I just worry about her. So I want her to be safe. So it's like, I told her, I was like, you got to wear your mask, and I don't want you hugging anybody. And she's a hugger.
And, so and that's harder when you haven't seen people. And same thing, it's like your daughter's getting married, right? So of course, she's going to want to hug people. But it is. It's so hard.
So there are, there's I had posted some pics at Nick Wilson's wedding, and we didn't have masks on. And they were like, you need to have masks on. I was like, well, we had them on up until we was getting ready to eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then they had this thing where you would pick a sticker, green, yellow, or red, on how comfortable you are with hugs, touching, shakes.
Oh, that's so cute. That's smart. A great idea. So everybody had it, so who you can approach.
Yeah, so you know who you could approach and stuff. And I thought that was
is such a great idea. I haven't heard anybody else
you can have green on green.
Yeah. So there was some people like Carl who was from Ghost Island, or I mean David versus Goliath with Nick. He had green and green, and he's like, give me double hugs.
Hug me.
But so the people at our table, everybody at our table had green on. You know what I mean? So even though you can't see that in a pic, there's, there were steps that were taken.
Right. And it's also such a great idea, because if somebody does come with the red sticker on, you don't even have to, you just know.
You just know.
Just exactly. I haven't heard of anybody doing that, and I think it's such a great idea.
Such a good idea.
That's smart. But what I was saying is, somebody had made the comment about, y'all should be blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But what they didn't know is that everybody at our table had green on, so we were all comfortable with, the situation or whatever. So, but yeah, it's going to be a good time, but I want people to come and be safe. And that is honestly part of the reason why I wanted to build a bathroom instead of get a Porta-John thing, because you can wash your hands and we're going to put hand sanitizer out. You can wear your mask,
Right. Yeah. And then you can have a wedding.
Yeah. And then we're going to have one hell of a party,
I'm sure.
So it's
I'm sure.
It's going to be a good time. A lot of people's been reaching out about, wanting to kick in money. Are we registered, this, that, and the other? And honestly, we did this honey fund thing.
Yeah, I think I contributed to that. If I didn't, I meant to. I'll go back and check. I think I did.
Oh well,
because that's what you were.
I haven't looked at it yet. But,
okay, let me make sure I actually did it. I know I saw it. I know I thought about it. The question is whether I pushed the button.
Yeah, but so if you go to Facebook, to my woman's Facebook or mine or whatever, we have the honey fund on there where you could actually go and just chip in on the honeymoon. Because we've lived together for years now, and it's like, what could we possibly?
You don't need stuff,
And it's like, I need people pitching in on this honeymoon. Is what I need, you know what I mean?
And if there's a little bit left, we can add it to the horse fund.
Oh yeah, this is true. If she would have thought of that, Tim, she would have been all over that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be going to Montana. You'd be collecting money so that she would get a horse.
This is true, but you're right. But people can pitch in. Like Tommy made a joke. He's like, "Yo, I'm giving you $3." I said, "Should I take you $3? Because all the merrier." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I appreciate anything anybody kicks in. You don't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like your friend who did win $1 million, I would hope that he gave you more than $3.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've not looked at it. I don't know who's pitched in what or whatever. Because I've been super busy.
I just have to watch the actual video of the wedding with Dean officiating.
He's all business though. It's
that's
been
so funny.
Cool.
So you'll see Dean when he's on. I mean, he seems like a real good guy, but he's kind of a doofus. That's just kind of his persona.
Yeah, he is. But Dean's an awesome fella. And,
I'm sure he is. Yeah,
I'm so glad to be able to call that kid my friend.
Yeah.
And it's from which series?
He's from my season. He's from my season. Yeah. We were on the same season
it's
together.
Mostly the people from her season who are coming, and then some other people who played recently.
The crazy thing is that he actually double crossed me, and there's a reason why I went home. And he's one of my better friends from the show. So
yeah, that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Right.
Yeah. It's a game.
Yeah, so it's gonna be super fun. And like I said, if you guys want, hopefully somebody can live stream it. If not, then you guys will just
it'll
have
be
to
up
wait
that night. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to have to figure something out, but it's going to be a really good time. I've got my hands full with the stuff I'm trying to get accomplished before the date. Yeah, and I've been super busy and crazy working outside doing this.
And I can just see 24 hours before the wedding, you're calling somebody to rent a porta potty and somebody else to rent a horse.
I will not give in. I will set a commode up over a hole out in the yard and put, somewhere.
Have somebody hold a little
shower curtain around you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Or you could just tell people, hey, this is Survivor. Just go off, 20 pages. That's what we do, Well,
I would do that, except my godmother's going to be there, and she has a stroke, and she doesn't move very well. Oh, yeah. And when she's got to go, she's got to go.
I also can't really imagine Tanya trying to use the.
Well, I told her, I was like, you do not want to go into a Porta-John with that dress on. I'm telling you, you don't.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so. Yeah, so it should be a good time, and
it's going to be fun. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy.
You could of course take an 18th century approach and just provide lots of little potties around the place.
What?
Do you not know these are the little potty things? They're like sort of bowls, ceramic bowls with a handle, and people used to keep them in little cupboards around the dining room for those moments when they had to go.
Oh, like a bedpan? Like a bedpan?
Like a bedpan, but these were sort of
fancier?
Dining room pans. Yeah.
That's so weird.
So you didn't have to go out to the outhouse?
And there is a piece of furniture which is designed for that. It's like a little cupboard, a very small cupboard on a little sort of table with a cupboard under it, and that's for the potty, for the chamber pot.
I'm so glad we've come as far as we have. I'm so glad.
Well, this is where we this I believe is where we get the English word loo, because
King Louis.
Well, you'd have one of these things under your bed, and early in the morning, your mother would go upstairs, and she'd throw the contents out of the window into the street, and because she was so polite, she would scream out in French the French word for water, which is l'eau, and because she might have had a Scottish accent, it would come out sounding like Mrs. Doubtfire. L'eau. Splash, and anybody walking below would put up their umbrella quickly.
Yeah.
Would avoid getting covered.
Like I said, I'm so glad we've come so far. But if push comes to shove, there will be a toilet out. There will be a toilet posted up out in the field somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see how it happens.
What you need are lots of little cabinets and a lot of umbrellas, and life would be easy.
Yeah, this is true. We'll see how it works out, though.
I'm so looking forward to hearing.
Let me just do my housekeeping here, and we'll get out of here.
Okay.
So coming up on Survivor NSFW, so we are continuing with our twice a week coverage of Big Brother. On Thursday, we are supposed to be joined by Lex Vandenberg of Survivor Africa. And then for a show that will probably drop next Tuesday, we are going to be joined by Rachel Swindler of Big Brother 20, right? She played with Tyler, and she's also a very, very funny person. And so we can't wait to see what she's going to want to talk about. Also, you can follow our continuing coverage from World's Toughest Race, Eco Challenge Fiji on Amazon Prime. Now, this is the show, Elaine, that Mark Burnett did before Survivor.
Yeah, I
used to watch Challenge.
So
he did two. Oh, so did you see this latest season? I have not.
No, I've not watched this season that's come out, but I watched it way back when he done it. Years ago. So it is on Amazon Prime. Maybe this weekend, maybe that I will watch. All the episodes are available, and I think all of our coverage is also up. I think the last episode dropped yesterday, but if not, it will be up very soon. Also, if you enjoy our programming, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com or at NSFW, ad-free NSFW. That gets you free early access to all of our shows. You get the patron-only shows. You get to hang out with us on Zoom. We have a Facebook group. It's a good time. Next week, we are going Tim and I are going to be joined by Bobby Goodsby from RHAP. Bobby was on one of my Circle shows, but he hasn't been on this. He hasn't been on.
So have I met him?
I don't think you've met Bobby.
Ooh.
I mean, you were on my show when I had the Circle, episodes, and Bobby was, but you weren't on together. So yes, this will be your first time. But Bobby has been very, very much looking forward to talking to you.
Me too.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have to talk a little bit about the absolute shit show that is going on in the Big Brother house right now. So this was good to get away from that for a couple of hours and come to a place where people are nice to each other and don't make racially charged remarks to each other, because it's not really fun to watch. So this is on Big Brother. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're not going to, I assume most of it is not going to make the episode, but that's also worse, because what we're learning is if you take, a bunch of people and you put them in a house with a bunch of cameras, at least some of them are going to say racist shit.
Yeah.
That just seems to be how it works.
I don't understand why this is so, why this happens. Nobody needs to be racist. Nobody needs to be sexist. Nobody needs to be prejudiced.
Well, my thing is like, you can feel however you want to feel. Like people have problem with homosexuality. And I'm okay with them not being okay with me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. However, when they take that and they cross a line and they infringe on my rights,
they can have an opinion.
You can feel however you want to feel. You can hate whoever you want to hate. Just keep it to yourself.
Yeah,
just keep it to yourself.
As I've told many people, if you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married. End the problem.
You don't need to feel threatened. You may be God's gift to your particular gender. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be pursued by a same-gender person if you don't want to be.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But people can really feel and believe whatever they want to believe. It's just you're supposed to respect others and others' right to feel and believe how they want to believe, and people don't do that.
Right.
I know.
So,
right. Yeah, the difference. Yeah, like the differences between, like my thing, like the differences between my religion says that I can't do something. Right. That's my own decision versus my religion says that you can't do something.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
It's just common sense to me, but common sense isn't so common. So.
Yeah. Yeah. If it wasn't,
which unfortunately is missing. If I'm Bing Crosby explained it nicely.
Yeah.
We've got 5 senses, and then this extra one, which sometimes eludes people. And it's so sad. You know.
Somebody was asking me what's going on at the Big Brother house. Maybe we'll talk about it more on Thursday, but like just one example, so Christmas is the HOH. She puts up Bailey and Devon. She puts up 2 black women. And there were other issues before that, but then we get Christmas saying that she's afraid that, Bailey's going to stick a fork in her face or she's going to get shot.
Yeah.
It's a game, people, right? And that's the thing. Understanding, she's both of them have been called threatening. Right, for doing things that, I'm sure if a white woman had said the same things, nobody would see it as threatening. So it has not been, really, really horrible statements like we had on like BB15 or something. It's not that bad yet, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm sure they're also being wound up a little bit, but
I know, but this they're not trying to wind up. This stuff is bad for CBS. They do want to try to tamp this down.
It's like, though, if you don't want that kind of behavior, then do like MTV, start cutting people that acts like that. Right. Don't let them back on there. You know what I mean? Like, just get rid of them.
Yeah, and this time they had bias and sensitivity training apparently before the season. Apparently, it did not work. Yeah. But at least but they're saying but we had a program. Yeah. Well, I think you need to run the program again because it's been a month and they've all forgotten.
Well,
it's so sad. I'm so sorry, really.
Yeah, and it just makes it really uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, but people have an opportunity to show the country how wonderful we can be, and then we get this sort of rubbish where people are at each other's necks and for pointless reasons. And how can you have racism in today's world? I just don't understand. How can it be tolerated on television in any form?
Yeah, that's the part I don't get. It's like, and that's what I said. Do like MTV, like, that one girl had made some comments. She made a joke during Black Lives Matter stuff, and dude, they severed it right there. That was it. She was on the current season that was playing at the time, and they just edited her out of the whole show.
You see, I'm afraid Elaine, jokes are really the cutting edge of racism.
No, it is. It is.
If you make a joke of something, it means you don't think it's important.
Yeah. And that's what she had made a joke, and MTV's like, yo, we don't care. You're done. And they, you know what I mean? But that's what they should do. They should just nip it, handle it, take care of it. And then, it shows that there's a zero tolerance. And if there's a zero tolerance, if people start having that mindset that there is a zero tolerance for this shit, then people's behaviors may start to change because the repercussions of it. You see what I mean? So,
but if there's a zero tolerance and it's not aired, then no one knows about it. This is the other problem.
Well, that's the problem with Big Brother is like stuff happens. It's on the live feeds that doesn't make actual TV, and they kind of just sweep it under the rug.
They were doing their best yesterday. They weren't even putting it on the feeds. Every time that it looked like any of the relevant people were going to have a conversation, they would immediately turn it off.
Yeah.
So they really locked this down. I don't think any of it is ever going to come out.
That's part of the problem, though. It's like, it's like when stuff like that happens, you need to whistleblow it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Put that shit on blast. So people like.
Well, I think you actually need to throw them out of the. You need to throw them out of the program. You need to throw them out of the house.
Oh yeah. If they would take it to an extreme like that and take it to that one step further and be like, all right, if you're gonna say this, then you can just go home.
You said this. You go home.
Yeah.
This is the red line. You don't cross that red line.
Yeah, and see, that's the problem is people have created these gray areas where there shouldn't be, and there's this allowance of
Right.
things to happen that shouldn't be. You know what I mean? So it's like,
and I feel like we do have to talk about this woman who was so, afraid that, Bailey was going to shoot her. Just newsflash, Christmas Abbott is a convicted felon. And neither Bailey or Day is.
What is she a felon for?
Assault.
Assault.
Yeah,
right?
when she was 8 months pregnant, she used her Mercedes SUV to ram into the Honda of the woman who was now sleeping with her boyfriend. Right. So she's on Big Brother. She gets off the show. She wanted Paul. That didn't work out. She meets somebody else. She gets pregnant like within a few months. And then even before the kid is born, she gets I guess it's not just like, disorderly conduct or whatever. She did a bunch of damage.
Like Jerry Springer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Springer was a detective.
And on the other hand, like I do understand, you're 8 months pregnant and your man is stepping out with somebody else. I understand being pissed. But there's a big difference between being pissed and, aggravated assault.
Being crazy, yeah.
Yeah. And people are like, how did she even get on the show?
Unborn baby.
Yeah.
Who knows? Listen, my phone is literally like.
All right. We're going to let you go, but this was great. So everybody, please join us next week.
Hours.
I know. Please join us next week, noon Eastern, 5 p.m. GMT. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you all next week on Survivor NSFW Rewind. Bye everybody.
Guys.